Hey guys, it's your friendly neighborhood host, that guy Frankie, and if you're wondering why I'm here in my bathroom, I'm here to try out a new trend, here to debunk a myth. Look guys, you know I love horror, and you know I love pro wrestling, so when I heard that there's this new urban legend going around the dirt sheets, going around the internet, I had to see if it was true or not. So, like a mythbuster, I have to figure out if this myth is real or not. Similar to Bloody Mary saying her name 3 times, I figured let's try to see if we can summon this one man himself. So, as always, I'm your friendly neighborhood host, that guy Frankie, about to try something downright chilling. So as you guys can see, I have my very own candles here. I have my lighter here, and all I have to do is turn the lights off and light these puppies ablaze. So, to anyone watching, don't try this at home. No, nothing ever bad happens to the cameraman, right guys? Alright, now, if I remember the incantation right, if I remember the name, all I have to say is his name 3 times. Joe Hendry.
Did you see it?
Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry. Guys! I don't know if you guys saw that, but it just blew out the candle. Wait, what's going on over here?
Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Cause they love him in London and Paris and Tokyo, America, Scotland and Canada and Mexico. They say, I believe in Joe Hendry. I believe.
Say his name and he appears. But why? What is it about this Joe Hendry fella that's managed to not only get himself over with the internet wrestling fans, but make something of himself in the big leagues like the WWE? Who is Joe Hendry? What exactly is a Joe Hendry? And why does he appear if you say his name like a discount Candyman, eh? If you're not familiar with the name Joe Hendry, chances are by the end of the video, you most likely will
believe that.
As always, I'm your friendly neighborhood host, that
That's
guy
right.
Frankie, yours truly, and today I'll make you believe in Joe Hendry and have you wave your hands from side to side because he is the prestigious one. As far as I could remember, Joe Hendry was always meant to be the prestigious one. And it's not just because they love him in London, Canada, or Mexico, but it's because he believed in himself. He believed in Joe Hendry. Whether it was my first time being exposed to his character when he was part of the Prestige on YouTube's own What Culture Pro Wrestling, the only thing the British people did right, okay? British wrestling, give it to me, give it to me. Yeah. To now being the prestigious one over in TNA. There is a certain charm, or an aura, as the cool kids say. From his rise in the indies, to where he's growing and evolving in TNA, to appearing and wrestling on shows like WWE's very own NXT, he's done quite a lot to get to the level where he's at now. Joe Hendry is a Scottish pro wrestler that wrestled in companies ranging from the likes of ICW, otherwise known as Insane Championship Wrestling, to Discovery Wrestling, to New Generation Wrestling, to the very best wrestling channel at that time, What Culture Pro Wrestling, to the then shitty Defiant Wrestling, to one of the greatest independent ones at the time, which no longer is now sadly, Ring of Honor, and TNA Wrestling. You see, Hendry's got quite the resume, as it was during his indie runs that it would land him a spot on WWE television as the then Rusev, now Miro, Russian diplomat on television. Though it was a small role, moments like these help establish future stars of tomorrow by getting them television time and seeing as to whether or not they'll sink or swim with the role they're given. And it's always fun seeing rising stars in these roles before they become the next best thing. Before Joe could become the prestigious one, however, it was during his time in WCPW where Hendry, in my personal opinion, would slowly start to gain more exposure and notoriety. With What Culture at the time being not just one of YouTube's big wrestling channels at the time, they also had some pull in the UK British wrestling scene. He was at the right place at the right time. Hendry would make videos promoting the shows as a heel when he was part of the Prestige, make a list video on the What Culture channel for wrestling fans like me. It opened me up to more wrestling outside of the big leagues, if you will, outside of the WWE during my high school days. Thanks to WCPW, I actually got to know about the Bullet Club in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where I would see my favorite Tongan out there. But every now and then, with WCPW, it gave guys like Joe the exposure and momentum they needed to build themselves. While it's reported that he didn't like being a heel, his work as a bad guy when he was in the Prestige, at least to me, was some of his best work. Joe was the leader of the Prestige, and they were booked fairly well as a dominant heel faction. But while they weren't booked to be this unbeatable, unstoppable group, they were quite formidable and made them unforgettable to me at the very least. With 3 to 4 of their matches being losses, the other times they were booked had either strong victories or heelish wins, the dirtiest plays in the book. They wrestled the likes of the Young Bucks, who at the time were part of the Bullet Club, the best group out there outside of D-Generation X and NWO. But I don't know what the hell's going on with the Young Bucks aside from me calling them the Mid-Bucks. With Joe Hendry being the leader of this faction, it was only more satisfying. He could cut a fairly well promo that could get you to believe what he was saying, and that, my friends, is when you get the fans to love you. Out of the entire stable, however, Joe Hendry came out the more popular of the bunch, ending in places again such as Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, where the future stars of tomorrow were developed, and well, back to, TNA. When the Prestige, however, eventually split, this led to Joe becoming a single star, using the same song from the Prestige, but changing it up a bit, making it more for him. This is where he would dub himself as Prestigious One. And although his entrance themes have changed throughout his runs, that phrase stayed with him. Now that Joe Hendry went solo, he would reincorporate one of his other talents that wouldn't just elevate the Scottish Guru, but be one of the best parts about him and his character. You see, music was a big thing for Joe, as early on in his childhood he loved music. Joe would make music on his dad's Apple computer using apps like GarageBand, which I can't really roast, coming from a guy that used to use iMovie to edit videos for years and years on end. Oh god, how far I've come, but I still feel quite lazy. For nearly 10 years, Joe Hendry would focus on crafting music before even becoming a wrestler, and thankfully, the musical side of him helped him big time when it came to the wild and bizarre world of professional wrestling. It's through his love of music that Joe would be this big time comedic wrestler. Though it started in 2016, Joe would gain far more notoriety in TNA when he went against guys like Flop Dollar.
The magic of flight!
Thanks for coming, Flop Dollar!
making one of the best diss tracks ever since Ice Cube's No Vaseline and Eminem's Kill Shot, which, by the way, anyone thinking that MGK made a better diss track is delusional as hell and should be either arrested or given 15 super kicks by Jacob Fatu. TNA is what quite literally let Pandora out of the box. Joe would explore more of his musical talents and make parody songs on other wrestlers, with some of the best being against the likes of Matt Cardona, dubbed
Edge's bitch.
to the most iconic being
Get ready to die. You are banned from diving.
against the likes of, again, Flop Dollar. TNA is the birthplace of Hendry's best work. The songs and the videos that literally broke the internet for wrestling fans and caused massive amounts of memes is the iconic
I believe in Joe Hendry.
This song alone is the best theme outside of the Prestige in my opinion, and it's not just catchy, but it suits him much like John Cena's My Time Is Now, Cody Rhodes in Kingdom, or Eddie Guerrero's Viva la Raza. Damn, that sounded so white on my end. This is a man who's been in the game for almost 12 years at this point, and it feels like there isn't anything he can't do. While Hendry isn't the guy, he is definitely one of the next up-and-coming main eventers if given the ball to run with. While many may not like his gimmick or his character or shtick, as some fans tend to go for the serious bad guys, badass heels, Hendry isn't really one I'd group into the category of meme wrestlers. That would be guys more like Orange Cassidy, and in my opinion, while I like Orange Cassidy, he's not on the level of Joe Hendry. While he may not be the badass heel everyone loves, or just the badass that everyone wants that has to fit certain mold, for me, Joe Hendry ticks all the boxes for me. He's good at promos, and he's good in the ring.
He's got the fans behind him, King, and his opponent had better watch out.
But what he's best at is intriguing the audience, keeping them with him, making sure that they're entertained. That is what I love about Joe Hendry, because when it comes to wrestling, if the character can get over and establish a relationship with fans, that's how you know they have made it. While he isn't a big megastar like LA Knight,
Dummy. Yeah. Dummy. Yeah.
John Cena, or Roman Reigns, he's coming along just fine and making headlines for himself. I may not watch TNA as religiously as I'd like to, but with the clips and the videos that I've seen throughout the landscape that is YouTube, it's good to say that he's got that it factor in him. Hell, I wouldn't be lying, and neither would WWE or TNA, given the fact that he was one of TNA's hand-picked talents to be the bridge between TNA and NXT for their 25-man Battle Royale alongside Frankie Kazarian. Oh man, and although the prestigious one was the first to be eliminated, it's what he did after that proved why he belongs in the big leagues. In a fit of rage, Hendry walked up to the legendary Shawn Michaels, you know, the guy that super kicked a guy just because he was named Stan.
Stan. Oh! See? I just kicked Stan!
The head honcho of NXT, and said that he could show up anywhere at any time if you just say his name. The best part of this moment is that the fans in attendance booed the absolute hell out of that match.
Did you see that? King of TNA? He took the first shot.
That just goes to show you that Joe Hendry is more than over. Seeing the audience react in that very way makes me believe that the NXT and TNA partnership only solidified more because Joe Hendry wouldn't leave our TV screens just yet, folks. The prestigious one would appear quite frequently on NXT television, whether it was holding a concert to even having matches, to the point that it led to him being on pay-per-views. Hendry managed to headline a WWE pay-per-view and be one of WWE's most watched clips on Twitter, all while working for TNA and not working for WWE themselves. Yeah, I can't name another up-and-coming talent like Joe Hendry. Also, recently, Joe Hendry just did NXT's Moment of the Year, and he's not even a signed wrestler in the WWE. This man is still TNA by the time I'm making this video. Holy shit! Although the prestigious one isn't in NXT, at least yet, his work over in TNA is still captivating and great to watch. It's the main reason why I tune in every now and then that I can. His work has only evolved through the countless promotions he's been in, and I honestly believe that his current work right now, as the prestigious one, is his best one yet. He may not be TNA's world champion, but I think he will be soon, or if he doesn't, by the time he ever signs on the dotted line with Shawn Michaels and TKO. As much as I like TNA and what they're doing with them, they haven't really booked him in the way many fans want, to the point that the man's already been screwed out of a world title picture at least a few times, and I get it. It may not be his time, but his time is ticking in TNA. Joe Hendry has this aura that will only get better once stepping foot in the WWE, or if he decides to stay loyal to TNA and still be a bridge between them. He'll be one of the main focal points, an anchor being like Deadpool and Wolverine. But if he stays loyal to them, I only hope and pray that TNA gives him the title. It's time to believe in Joe Hendry. He's not just a meme wrestler, nor a one-trick pony, a one-hit wonder, or star whose 15 minutes of fame are running out, because Joe's got that it factor about him that if done right, if the trigger is pulled, we could potentially see one of the next best wrestlers of the modern day era. But please, Joe, please, whatever you do, wherever you go, for the love of God, don't go to AEW, please. I don't want to see my boy get massacred like MJF already has been getting cooked recently, and I don't want to see him end up like the Mid-Bucks, please. So ladies and gentlemen, say it with me and do it with me. Wave your hands from side to side with me and say, we believe in Joe Hendry. I've been your friendly neighborhood host, that
That's
guy
right.
Frankie. Yours truly, signing off in the most awkward way possible, but hey, thanks again. I know it's been quite some time since my last video, but I really appreciate all you guys tuning in. Sorry for the hiatus, there's been a lot of stuff going on. But yeah, I'm hoping I can make more content for you guys, and I'm hoping you guys enjoyed this video, so I'll see you guys all in the next one.
Oh, I believe in Joe Hendry,